Mercedes left Singapore thrilled following George Russell's stunning win on the streets of Marina Bay. But there's hesitation as to whether it can back it up at the next race in Austin, Texas. Russell has scored both Silver Arrows wins this year in Canada and Singapore, tracks with slow-speed corners. But circuits ahead, including Austin, will test the W16 on high speed.
And that's perhaps an area where we've struggled a bit. Now, we're still working on that. We're still trying to look for every little bit that's there in setup. But that's certainly something that's coming. If you look at a track like Austin, it's got a very, very fast Sector 1. So we need to make sure we can perform in that area.
Russell was jubilant to win in Singapore, especially given he crashed out of 2023's edition on the final lap at turn 10. But in the aftermath, the Brit admitted that he didn't know where the improved pace came from, though the team spoke up following its post-race debrief.
Well, we've been doing a lot of work on looking after the rear tyres, particularly at those tracks where they get a very punishing time. And Singapore, the air's very hot there. There's also an awful lot of traction. So that was a circuit that if you looked at last year, 2024, we did struggle in the race.
To make steps forward, the squad has sought solutions to keep the tyres from overheating, including insulating them from heat in the brake drum, while they've also focused on the bigger picture.
We've been trying to work on how the car's actually handling so that the drivers aren't having to use the throttle as they come out of corners to continue turning the car. It's now wanting to turn itself a lot better, which that definitely helps.
The late nights are set to continue at Mercedes UK bases, with the fight on to retain second in the constructors' standings. Colton Herta remains Formula One and Cadillac's great hope to get an American driver back on the grid, with the 25-year-old Californian serious about his F1 future with the American marque. Herta has turned his back on his lucrative Andretti Global IndyCar drive and its alleged annual salary of $7 million for a test drive with Cadillac's F1 team in 2026. Herta has taken 9 wins in IndyCar from his first full-time season in the series through to 2025, with his last coming in 2024 in Tennessee capital Nashville at the Music City Grand Prix. Herta started in 9th, but his Andretti team used smart strategy to lift him to 2nd, at which point he hunted down McLaren's Pato O'Ward for the lead after the Mexican's final stop on lap 180 of 206. Herta got past O'Ward with 5 laps to go after the pair split to overtake backmarker Stingray Robb, a huge thrill for the fans and the race winner.
Luckily we had just enough room between me and Stingray. There might have been a small nudge there, but I had to use every bit of them to accelerate onto the straight. But man, I'm so happy. Group 1001, Cambridge Honda has been so fast this whole weekend. We didn't get to show it in qualifying, but we knew we were going to have a hot rod in the race.
But Herta has a steep learning curve returning to Europe, despite his previous McLaren F1 test with a 2026 F2 race drive, where setup and tyre management is crucial to strong results. And even if he does well, there's no guarantee of a 2027 race drive, said team boss Graham Loudon to official F1 podcast Beyond the Grid.
But there's no given here. If he gets another 6 points, that doesn't put him in our race car at all. Nobody races forever, so at some stage we're going to change drivers and there'll be an opportunity, but there's no given here. This isn't an exercise to just get some points and then we put Colton in. We're constantly looking for what's best for the team, and it could well be Colton.
The pressure is on for one of America's hottest talents to deliver. McLaren finally secured its second straight Formula One Constructors' Championship in Singapore, after Lando Norris closed out the podium to secure the required points. It was the earliest that the Papaya squad had secured the team's crown, with 6 rounds to go, equaling Red Bull Racing's 2023 record and 1 race earlier than its previous legendary high watermark in 1988. Behind McLaren, there's a furious battle for the runner-up spot between rivals Mercedes, Ferrari, and Red Bull, with just 35 points between them. But further back, behind Williams, which looks comfortable in 5th, is an almighty stoush for 6th, with 4 teams in contention. Just 26 points separate Racing Bulls in 6th, with Haas in 9th. And the competitiveness is expected to swing between the final 6 rounds from Austin, USA to the season finale in Abu Dhabi. There's a lot on the line, with around $10 million between each placing, meaning the spread is worth in excess of $30 million. Racing Bulls is sitting 6th in the constructors' standings following Singapore. Though its rival Aston Martin has outscored it by 4 points in the season's second half, 40-36. Sauber scored an impressive 29 following Nico Hülkenberg's podium visit, 12 more than Haas. But the American team will need some serious results to overtake Sauber, though former Haas boss Günther Steiner told the Inside Line that even seems a step too far for the squad.
I don't know if they can get away from P9 in the moment until the end of the year, because all the other teams, they seem to be pretty strong, you know. But a lot of the midfield teams have up and downs this year. Look at Aston Martin. They have really high ups. Look at Sauber. It's on a slow track. Sauber is nowhere. On fast tracks, they're good.
The last 6 races will be crucial, with each top 10 placing making a huge difference to team coffers going into 2026. It's game on. The United States of America is a mainstay on Formula One's calendar, with the Indy 500 an original part of the action from 1950 to 1960, before Sebring and Riverside made their debuts. 2025 marks the 46th running of the United States Grand Prix, the 13th to be held at Texas state capital Austin's European-influenced Circuit of the Americas, and 4th sprint weekend of the season. It's also a double-header twinned with Mexico, with the final 6 races run in rapid time. The 2 races are then followed by a Brazilian standalone round before the final triple-header. Ferrari was on top last year after it stole the Stars and Stripes showdown, when Charles Leclerc led home his then-teammate Carlos Sainz for the Scuderia's first 1-2 on US soil since 2006. The Monegasques snatched the lead into the first corner and never looked back, with Leclerc over 8.5 seconds ahead of Sainz at the end, despite a 2-lap safety car period that closed them up. It wasn't so good for Mercedes, as both drivers, then Lewis Hamilton and George Russell, crashed throughout the weekend, with Hamilton's on lap 3 of the Grand Prix, though the team didn't blame the final upgrades it put onto the W15.
We don't know for certain. All the things we measured suggested that the upgrade package was behaving as we would expect. The downforce was there. We didn't see prior to the spins anything breaking down on the flow structures under the car. So I think there's every reason to think that she's a good one, and we'll enjoy that for the remainder of the year.
Hamilton, though, remains the most successful driver on American soil, with 6 wins, 5 of them at Austin. Michael Schumacher has 5, while Graham Hill, Jim Clark, and Max Verstappen all have 3. There was no shortage of action ahead of the event last year, with Aston Martin Jr. Jack Crawford rocking a special show run through his home city of Houston to celebrate fuels and lubricants partner Aramco. For Crawford, though, it was about bringing his dream home.
I was able to wake up in my own bed this morning and drive a Formula One car. I'd say that's pretty cool. I was able to do donuts around the streets that I've been on since I've been growing up, and yeah, it was super cool.
Located 20 minutes from downtown Austin, the 5.513-kilometer track has 20 turns, 11 left and 9 right, and a top speed of 330 kilometers per hour. Leclerc set the lap record in 2019 for Ferrari. There are 2 DRS activation zones, with the first on the back straight, while the other is located on the pit straight. There are also 2 DRS detection points, the first after turn 10 and the second before turn 19. European-style racing deep in the heart of Texas, it's time for the United States Grand Prix. Thanks for watching. To stay up to speed on all things Formula One, make sure you hit the subscribe button.